Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus, to another analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims. So once again we'll be breaking this thing down verse by verse into factual logical statements in English so that we can understand who or what is Allah Akbar, what does he mean by the contents of his book, the Quran of the Muslims, and more importantly for us, how does this affect us in our lives today as non-believers and infidels who he hates and is at war with, by his own admission. So before I start, as I always do, I'm going to tell you now, if you wish to fact check or question any of the things I'm about to say, please first buy and read Allah's word, which is only in Arabic, an Arabic Quran like this one. Not this one. This is what Allah says is the work of Satan, because it's written in not Arabic. And Allah says he only speaks in Arabic. So this is his word, and if you wish to fact check me, please buy, translate and read this. After having done so, you'll recognise all my notes. Everything I'm about to say now or have previously said is 100% true and accurate of the word of Allah and what Muslims believe today, unless they're infidels. Then they will argue it, which is most of the time what they do. So anyway, let's carry on. So what we've been doing is going through Al-Nisa, the book of women, or rather the book of how to mistreat, abuse and procure women for your uses of earning money for Allah's jihad, his war against humanity. So we're not going to go through that, and earlier on we went through the first 10 mentions of love in the Quran, and what we found is every single one of those mentions is attached to war, hate, murder and rape. That's Allah's love. Allah's love is hate, and he expresses his hatred by getting human to kill human, to get brother to kill brother, to get us to kill each other, because he can't be bothered. That's Allah's expression of love. So I thought what it would be useful to do is delve more deeply into Allah's love, considering Muslims profess that he is the most loving. He's more loving than anyone. No one could possibly be more loving than Allah. And then I think, okay then, so if you're coming to me in the loving spirit of Allah, O ye Muslims, why is it I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every single day of comments from you, O Muslims, where you clearly haven't watched my video or read the book in English or Arabic, but you wish to hate upon me at the same time as professing love? This is what Allah teaches you to do, and this is what you do and why you do it. So the point I'm making is, Allah gives a terribly poor example for Muslims to follow, which they follow because they are obedient to him. And the example Allah gives is to lie, to tell Muslims that he'll love them if they kill people or they harm people or they hate people. If they go to war with the infidel and then make the false accusation that the infidel is the one that's at war with them. That's his example. That's his love. He expresses his love to Muslims via his commands. So for Allah, love is commanding people into obedience. It's self-love. Allah loves himself. Allah loves his own great plan to end humanity. He doesn't love Muslims. He fucking hates Muslims. We can see that. Excuse my French. See, this is another thing. If Allah was love, why is it when I read his book I feel nothing but anger and hate and tribulation? Not towards other people, towards Allah. Allah inspires me to hate him. And that is the reason why, or one of the many reasons why, we know Allah and the Quran is Satan and Satan's instructions to humans. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go through some of the examples in the Quran where Allah professes love but actually shows hate. At the beginning of Al-Baqarah, the cow, the heifer, he talks about, O children of Israel. This happens immediately after he is hateful towards Adam, and he tricks Adam into learning the secrets of the hidden secrets of heaven and earth, which God had forbidden him to have. He tricks Adam into these, and because of Adam's transgression against God via the trickeries of Allah, he is stricken from the Garden of Eden. The state of felicity ends. And he falls to earth along with Allah, and then Allah says, no longer are you going to be the king of heaven, I lied. You're not truth, you're not power, you're not beauty, you're not courage, you're going to have a terrible life on earth now. You have to find your own food and water. You have to make everyone you meet, your sons, your wife, and you have to do it. Obey only me, who is Allah in the book. And if you don't, I will kill you and your sons. I'll curse you and then I'll burn you forever in hell. That is Allah's love. The first thing he does, tricks Adam out of the state of felicity, into rebellion against God, gets him thrown out of Eden along with his wife. Then the second thing he does is threaten Adam with death if he doesn't worship only Allah and do what he's told. Then he mentions, O children of Israel, before Israel was even created. This is just after Adam and Eve. So there's no humans on earth. There's Adam, there's Eve, there's Allah and his angels. That's all that exists. Then he starts saying, O children of Israel, call to mind the great favour I placed upon you. Now, nowhere in the book does Allah call to favour on the children of Israel. He just doesn't do it. Throughout the book, he says children of Israel are evil and bad, and that we should kill them. The Jews are evil. They're Satans. They're transgressors against Islam. They are liars. They are hypocrites. They're greedy. He says everything he can to put his Muslims into a path of war with the Jews and the Christians by extension. And then he calls this love. So the first 4 examples conceptually of love given by Allah in his Quran are hate, war, slavery, and death. This is how Allah loves. Slavery, war, hate, and death. But Muslims still think he's the most loving. And that's why they treat each other that way and why they come to me and treat me that way when I've done nothing to them. I'm a total stranger to these guys. And they are too blinded by the sin and the manipulation and lies of Allah, who is Satan, to recognise what I'm doing is a mission of love to them. I'm trying to open their eyes to him sending them to sin and then leading them to their own deaths. Having a terrible poverty-stricken life of war in order to go there. For what? What does he promise them? What's their great reward in the afterlife for having died and killed? They get 72 robotic sexual slaves, buxom virgins, he's going to create for them. And the virgins will do the loving. So even at that point, Allah doesn't love them. The virgins do the loving, and the virgins have no personalities, they don't talk. They're like sexual robots created as slaves of his Muslims in the afterlife. This is another bit of proof that Allah has no concept of what love actually means or is. Because think about it. If you have 72 mindless robotic virgins that never talk and are only there to service your sexual pleasure, how can you say you love them? There's nothing there to love. What you love is pleasure, which is not created by Allah. Remember, you never got to have it in life. You only get it in death because you've killed infidels for his cause. So he's rewarding you with sexual pleasure, which is fornication, according to him. Your unearthly, heavenly reward in the paradise is fornication forever with 72 virgins which can't speak. That's how he loves you. That's all you're going to get. And you only get it if you kill people who you've never met, who've done nothing to you, infidels who he hates. So by extension of his hate, you can go to paradise. And by extension of his love, you can have lots of sex, which you could possibly be getting here without having to kill people first and enjoying it alongside your free will and your life. If you follow Christ, then that's what you get anyway. Alright, you won't get 72 virgins, you'll have a single wife, but you will love your wife and your wife will love you. You'll love your children will love you. And you won't have to be a slave of war, death and sin. You won't have to lie. You won't have to attack strangers. You won't have to get angry while you're extolling the virtues of Allah's heavenly love, which, by the way, is slavery, obedience to him. And you won't have to do anything bad. You won't have to do anything you don't want to do. And that's what I want to make the point of here. Allah enforces your obedience, and that is what he loves. He loves himself. He loves the fact that you are so in fear of him that you do everything he tells you and nothing else. Not only that, you're willing to kill people because he told you to. So we know Allah is Satan. I've done various different videos on it in the past. We can read the Quran and know that Allah is Satan. And that's what we're going to find as we read further through the book. But the point I want to make in this short video and what we're going to discuss is this. If Allah is the most loving, no one can be more loving than Allah, but Allah shows his love through hate, jealousy and rage and murdering people. What does that say about the love of a Muslim? If Allah's love is equal or greater than anyone else's love on earth, he's the most loving. Muslims can't ever hope to love anywhere near as well as Allah does in their own words. Why do we expect that Muslims who follow Allah are going to have any concept or need for love in their lives? because they can never love as much as Allah does. And as we've already seen, Allah's love is slavery and obedience to sin and war. The jihad, killing everyone else on earth who doesn't obey him. They're not worshipping enough, so off with their head, they're dead. That is Allah's love. So think about this, Muslims. When you're whinging about Islamophobia, racism, everyone hates you, oh, it's so unfair, why don't they just realise Islam's the true way? You have to realise the reason that's happening is not unreasonable, it's not fear-based, it's logical. You are coming to our country and us in the spirit of Satan, who you call Allah, but it's Satan. We know that from reading his books. He is commanding you to lie to us, to steal from us, to dominate our country through manipulation and deceit, to tell us we are evil and to kill us. That is the reason why Islamophobia exists. It's not unreasonable. It's not hateful. It's not racist. It's logical. But it's not against you. Your heart is good, O Muslim. You were born as a good baby. You have free will. You have everything that I have. You were born equal to me. And the only reason you lose that is through strict adherence to the Quran of the Muslims. Evil doctrine from Satan, which is this. And there's nothing you can do to say, oh, you've translated it wrong. Oh, the context is wrong. You interpreted it wrong. The entire book says that. And Allah even says, do not interpret his words, for thou will never understand these writings. Only Allah understands them. Which is why you have to obediently worship him and only listen to him. And what does he tell you? He tells you you're not allowed to be rich. You're not allowed to listen to musical instruments. You're not allowed to have friends outside of your Muslim faith. You have to obediently kill everybody else on earth, even though they've done nothing to you. You have to make up false accusations and hate the Jews. You have to devote your life to this, his cause of the holy jihad and the end times genocidal prophecy, which, by the way, is never going to happen. He said swiftly. In Al-Baqarah, he says, swift will be my justice upon the Jews. That was 1600 years ago. So if it's swift, how come it still hasn't happened now and it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon? Look what's happening to your brothers in Palestine. They're getting smashed. They're getting absolutely demolished and they're all dying. Why do they have to die, O Muslims? Because Allah has sent them to their deaths and they will refuse to see peace as a good thing. In their hearts, they actually believe, because Allah has told them, that the people they are killing are at war with them. No one's at war with them. They're the one who's at war with everyone else. The same as you Muslims are at war with everyone else, because Allah has expressly told you, anyone who doesn't bow to Allah and obediently praise only Allah is at war with you through their non-obedience of Allah. So he tells you, I'm at war with you. I can tell you, I'm not at war with you. I want to be your friend. I want you to realise the truth of life is not Allah. Allah is a lie. A liar should be his name. He is full of it. He wants to lead you down the dark path to sin by blinding your eyes from the truth, filling your heart with hatred, spite and racism. And that's the reason Islamophobia exists. It's not because we want to dislike you. It's because we don't want our heads cut off. We don't want to be insulted with false accusations and see our country destroyed by lies, manipulation, sin, deceit, war and rape, which is all the things Allah has as a gift for us as infidels. And like we've gone through, his gifts to you are not much better. Death in a jihad, 72 virgins. Do you think you would get bored of that? Don't you think after like 10 years of 72 virgins, you just think, oh, this is pointless, I hate this. 72 virgins is no kind of reward for giving your life in sin. It just isn't. So I'm going to end the video there. I think I've said my piece. We all understand now Allah is Satan. Nobody can deny this. Muslims will try to deny it, but if they're honest and they read this, the Quran of the Muslims tells us Allah is Satan. Allah hates humanity. Allah wants war and death and deceit. Allah punishes everyone who doesn't obediently kill each other, and the reward that you're going to get for killing each other is a cave filled with fire and 72 virgins who you will get bored with, who have no personalities. Slaves. So you're a slave of his. You get slaves in the afterlife, and you get them for living a life of sin and murder and Islamophobia and being hated for the nature of how you are to people. Whereas if you turn to Christ, or even if you're a secular atheist and you just have a moral heart, you will never want to kill anyone. Even those who want to harm you, you'll try and look for an excuse to not have to kill them. You'll only kill people if you absolutely can't avoid it and you have to. Not because some random psychotic warlord has told you to. And then said, I won't love you unless you do it. He doesn't love you anyway. He doesn't love you, Muslims, and that is obvious. You don't love each other, Muslims. That is obvious, and you don't love your brothers. You don't love humanity. You don't love life. You have no love, no truth. Allah has blinded you from all these things, chained your heart down with slavery. The only thing you love is fear. That's the only reason you follow this guy. You're terrified that he's not going to love you, he's going to punish you, he's going to burn you forever, and you won't get your virgins. Well, let me be the one to tell you, wake up, Muslims. Wake up and see what is happening. You are damning yourself to hell by living in sin, by committing to a genocidal, murderous lifestyle which you have no control over, which does not reward you, and will bring you into conflict with everyone, and you will die for it. And then your reward is nothing. Your reward is like virgins. Like, you can find 72 virgins. If you devote your life to it, within a decade, you will have had 72 virgins, at least. I know guys who do that every year. I'm not saying it's good, but it's there. You won't die for it. It's not a huge sin that you'll be burnt in hell for. It certainly isn't a reward you're going to get after living a life of sin and dying in a battle. Just think about it. Think about it, O Muslim. Use your head. You're not stupid. Allah's trying to make you blind. Allah's trying to make you stupid. Allah is trying to make you hateful. Think about what you're doing. This is wrong. This is wrong. And this is wrong. Allah is Satan. You are worshipping Satan when you worship this guy. And this book is his instructions on how to ruin your soul. That is why you will burn forever in hell, because you followed Allah. Where he lives is hell. He even tells you this. He says, and I quote, I will control thee from the darkest depths. Now, if he's God, what the hell is he doing hanging around in the darkest depths, controlling people? Then when he says how you're going to get there, even though he describes his paradise garden, notice the paradise garden is already created. Eden is where the book begins. And he gets flung out for trickery and violence. So we know Eden already exists. So when he's talking about creating his paradise garden after the end days, it's not the one that he came from, Eden, which is God's paradise. That's where you want to go. That's where the reward is. That's where the heavenly state of felicity is, in Eden, where we're headed, not where you're headed. Allah expressly tells you, you will be flowing like a river down through the earth to reach the paradise garden, which is underground. How can a paradise garden be underground? Rivers don't flow upwards through the sky. You won't be going through the earth if you're going up towards paradise. And as we know, you won't be getting in if you kill people, which is what Allah demands of you. Think, Muslims. You have a brain and a heart which is yours. It's not Allah's. It's yours. So use it. I'll pray for you every single day. I really will. We don't want to have this war with you, because you will die. That's the end of this video. So I hope you really were listening to me there and you picked up on what I'm putting out here. You learnt something, you enjoyed this. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Muslims, if you want to know the nature of love, hear me. I love you more than Allah ever has or will. I love you because you're my brother. I don't care that you want to cut my head off. I will die to try to save you because I love you.